everyone, welcome back to Amber the Baker. This week we got a good one. I know I say that every week, but this one's extra special because my husband's been on a very long trip and he's coming home. And who doesn't love to come home to a clean house, healthy pups, and your favorite sweet little treats? We're gonna make my husband's favorite today, which is white chocolate macadamia nut cookies. So this is gonna be a fun one. Last week we did molten lava cakes, which was great. So if you are a dark or milk chocolate fan, head on over to that video, learn how to make a molten lava cake. But today we are using white chocolate. So let's go ahead and get started. So per tradition, I've got my recipe written out, ready to go. And we are going to go ahead and jump right into our prep because I got a lot to do before he gets home. So, your ingredients, we'll start there. You are going to need flour, all-purpose, salt, cornstarch, baking powder, brown sugar, vanilla extract, white sugar, melted and slightly cooled butter, 1 room temperature egg, 1 room temperature egg yolk, white chocolate, macadamia nuts, however you like them, salted, not salted, whatever you do you. So we're gonna jump into our prep phase. For your flour, you are going to need 2 cups and 2 tablespoons, okay? Don't forget to add those 2 tablespoons with your 2 cups. I just cleaned the kitchen, well the whole house really, so I'm trying not to make a mess. So we're gonna see if that's even possible. Kiara, I just did kitchen. We don't show our dogs for free. Alright. We are going in with 2 cups. Beautiful flour, 2 tablespoons as well. This is going in its own little bowl, but I'm putting it into the bowl, right into my sifter, because you know, we sift flour in this house. Look at that already. Get that off there. Already a hot mess. Okay, so that's all the flour we're gonna need, so we're gonna pop this away. And I'm just gonna sift these 2 cups and these 2 tablespoons of flour. Get that ready in this bowl here. A lot of bakers say that you can skip this part, but an important part of a baked good is its texture, and we want to protect that textural integrity the best we can, and that's where my handy dandy Mr. Sifter never lets me down. All right, good. So flour's in, teaspoon, cornstarch. Cornstarch is an ingredient in all, like most bakery cookies, right? It gives you that crumble effect in the middle of a nice crunchy outside, but it keeps the texture of the dough to where you get that nice, gorgeous, like almost cake-like, but still cookie-like in the middle. If you like yours more cookie-like and not as cake-like, I would say use a ½ teaspoon of cornstarch. That's okay if you do that too. Teaspoon baking soda. Again, I keep mine in its own little container just so that, because you know, measuring out baking soda from the little box is an absolute nightmare. Okay, good. Then we are going in with ½ teaspoon, this is a quarter, I don't know where my half went, but ½ teaspoon of salt in here. We're gonna put our salt away. Okay, good. And we're gonna put our baking soda away so that I have a nice clean counter. Good. Okay, and this you're just gonna mix it together because we want to make sure all of these items are evenly incorporated so that every cookie gets some baking soda, every cookie gets some cornstarch, and a little bit of that salt in there so that they can bake properly and you have a beautiful like level of consistency through every cookie. because I do not play games with that. All right, just lightly mix that up, and then you just have your dries. We're gonna set this to the side because we don't really need it right now. We're gonna move on to our wet ingredients. We're going to start whisk. Need my name. I think she's in here actually. Ooh. Guess who didn't unload their dishwasher this morning? Me. All right, so this is our butter melted and slightly cooled. Just gonna give it a mix to make sure that's all together. And this is 3/4 cup of butter, by the way. And again, I use Irish butter. It just tastes so much better. I am cooling it a little bit because it's not quite the cool level I'm looking for. So I am just going to do that because we don't want this to cook anything. We don't want it to because if your butter is hot, right? And your egg is not, you're gonna have scrambled eggs in your cookies. So this is why when a baked good says slightly cooled, if you don't slightly cool it, you're gonna scramble your eggs. All right, so I'm just gonna slowly pour this in here to kind of cool it off a little bit more. Put a little bit of that in her. Now, that's 6 ounces of butter or 3/4 of a stick, whatever you have. Irish butter doesn't come in the tablespoon wrapping. Irish butter looks like this. There's different brands of it, right? But I use a Countryside Creamery Irish butter. So you just gotta use your food scale. And 3/4 of a stick here, 3/4 of a cup is gonna be 6 ounces. Okay, now once that's cool enough, or scramble your eggs, you're good to go. That's not cool. So, to help. So to help cool that off, we're just gonna get to work, right? So we are 3/4 cup. What we are doing now is 3/4 cup of light or brown, dark brown sugar. I have dark brown here today. It's just kind of my favorite. Loosen it up a little bit. Mine's not rock hard because it's in a container, but brown sugar is packed. So we want to make sure it's packed, right? So I have my 1/4 cup here. I'm just doing 3/4 cups here of packed brown sugar into this bowl of the butter. All right. Good. We're going to put the brown sugar away. And I'm also going to chuck my regular sugar in here, which is also 3/4 cup. So just your plain Jane sugar, chuck 3/4 cups in, 1/2, 3/4. Good, and then we're gonna put our sugar away as well. And I'm just gonna cream these, get some air into them. You can use your KitchenAid. We are going to pivot to our KitchenAid, but I'm not gonna go there until this butter is the proper consistency of not scrambling my eggs. So I'm just gonna go in like so. Good workout. Plus I don't show a lot of baking without the KitchenAid. It is definitely possible. Okay, yeah, that's definitely cooled off enough for our eggs. Now, do not put both eggs in there, please God, don't. You need 1 egg, which will go in. And then just 1 egg yolk, because egg yolk helps the richness in any dish. It makes it a little bit more delectable. So that's why a lot of your recipes call for an egg and egg yolk. Again, just run over to your sink, Back and forth a couple times. Pop it in. All right. If your yolk breaks in the process, if you don't lose any, who cares? It doesn't need to look pretty. It just needs to be in the bowl successfully. Okay, so we got our egg yolk, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. This one I like to keep consistent. You rarely see me measure out vanilla, but I have this recipe down to such a science for my husband. It's his favorite thing, that after playing with this for months and months and months and years and years and years, I'm not about to mess up what I came up with. But if you're just baking these for you or someone else or whatever, measure with your heart. It's vanilla. Okay, and then we're gonna mix all this up. I am going to go ahead and bring her in. Okay, good. And we will start with our whisk. Because I want this nice and creamy, nice and creamed up. I just want it to look like, a little bit lighter, a little bit fluffier, a little bit denser. So I'm gonna run that about 4, so about a medium. And we're gonna let that ride. While we're doing that, I'm just gonna kind of pick up a little bit here. Bring that to a 6, and you'll see it lightening in color significantly because of those eggs. And so when it looks kind of like lighter, right? And you can't see any more sugar grains, that means it's good. So I'm just waiting for this to be nice and get some air in there. That works good. Once it looks good, we are going to pull this up. See that? Look at that drip. It's nice and smooth. It's almost like a thinner pancake battery thing because there's a lot of liquids in here. And that's what you want. Waste not. Okay, now we are going in for our dry ingredients. Some people fold these in, some people do that if they want their gluten bindings to be, how they like them. This is how we like them. Just dump it in. Dump it in. Use the tools God has provided to us. We have the technology. Put your dough hook on here. Or not your dough hook, your paddle attachment. Dough hook. Put your paddle attachment on and low, please low. Otherwise you're gonna get flour to the face. And we are gonna do this until it is just combined, right? Because we want those gluten bonds to build where that flour gets mixed in with all your other ingredients, but we don't want it to build so much that you have a hockey puck cookie. Okay, and now this is going to be a thick batter, right? Because these are gourmet bakery style cookies. Straighten my sides down. Alright, good. I can't see any more flour in here, and look, that dough just falls off like that. That means it's good. So we are going to just take this completely out. Completely out here. Good. Now you're going to take your bowl off as well. We need... You're going to take your bowl off as well. So now you're going to need a cup of white chocolate chips. Right? So that means if it flows over a little, you're fine. Do it to your heart's content. I like exactly a cup because white chocolate macadamia nut may be my husband's favorite sweet little treat. But outside of this cookie, he hates white chocolate, so I don't like there to be too much. But if you like more, go nuts. And now we're doing a cup of macadamia nuts. Mine are whole. So, it says chop them, like give them a rough chop, right? You can do that if you want. I don't want. So, I'm gonna put these guys in a bag. I'm gonna do like a little bit more. I wanna say about a cup and an eighth in here. Because he likes more of the nutty flavor, and so do I. Seal these. Lie them on the counter. Grab whatever you want to grab. You're just gonna take your week out on them. You know what I mean? Maybe not to the extent I just did. Just take your week out on them, right? Until you see them start to break, because you want them to be big and chunky. You want them to be big and chunky, but you don't want them to be whole. Lord Jesus, look at me go. All right. These guys too. Then just gonna pop them on in. We like ours a little bit bigger. You can have yours however you like. Now, this is where you're going to use your spatula that you used earlier. And this is where you do your folds, right? Because we want to fold these in outside of your mixer, so that you're not building any more gluten vines, because you built them perfectly already. So, folding is where you put your spatula, whatever, on this side, you get a good chunk and you fold it in. And then you just keep doing that by rotating your hand or your bowl until everything you want is perfectly incorporated. Baking uses this a lot just to protect your good from over baking. You really want to get in the bottom all the way over, because the way we bake these cookies, you want to make sure that there's chunks in every single bite. And once it's fully mixed in and incorporated, fold it in, right? You can see, oh, I need more. I need more chocolate chips here. I want more macadamia nuts, or this doesn't look quite the way I want it to look. Put more of this, little of that. There you go. These are gonna be thick like this. This is what this is supposed to look like. So, there we go. Hold on in there. Smack for me. I don't eat cookie dough with raw egg, right? You're taught to taste everything you make. You're supposed to taste everything you make. Don't do it with no raw egg in it unless you're, willing to risk it for the day. I have a recipe for cookie dough that you can just eat that's egg free. All right, so it looks like this. You got chunks of stuff everywhere. That's what it's supposed to look like. Now you're probably saying, Amber, you never told us to preheat our ovens. No, I didn't. I did it on purpose. You're gonna get a lid for your mixer or a kitchen towel, or I would mostly recommend either foil or plastic wrap. Thank you. Or plastic wrap. And we're gonna refrigerate this for 2 hours. This is an important part of the process because it helps your butter and your flour really marry together and your sugar and create your flavor. People don't realize that you're basically, for lack of a better term, we're marinating our cookie to be a good flavor. And this is another big bakery secret, right? That most people will just take the cookie scoop, throw it in the tray, chuck it in right when they're done with the dough. And that's a big mistake. You always want to chill your cookie dough for a minimum of 20 minutes. So if you don't have time, it doesn't have to be very long. But if you do have time, like I do, you want to chill it for 2 hours. That's the cool thing about baking, right? Is you can do it whenever you have time. There's never a specific time that you need to whip this out. Like for example, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So I'm gonna pop this in the fridge and I will see you in 2 hours. All right. So it's been a couple of hours here. So the first thing we're gonna do is put our oven at 350, I believe. Yes. Bake, preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Now, if yours has been in for 2 hours, your cookie dough in the fridge, you're gonna wanna let it sit for 20 to 30 minutes until it's malleable and until you can scrape, it off the bottom, because that's when you know that it's now room temperature enough to work with. You will hurt yourself. If you try to scoop cold cookie dough, it's literally like concrete. So once you can get a scoop, please use a cookie scoop, please. Or ice cream scoop, excuse me. To scoop these, it's easier. They're uniform every time. You don't have to measure anything. I implore you to use an ice cream scoop. Fill it up, pop it out. Should look like this. Now you're probably like, Amber, your cookie sheet's upside down. I'm doing it on purpose. Okay, this will ensure my cookie will stay round. It won't get messed up by the edges. And I can push them out further, which means you can get more on one cookie sheet. Okay, so, perfect. Good. So you're just gonna scoop them, keep them about 3 inches apart. Just do one tray at a time, please. You could do 2 if you wanted to, but you really don't want to overcrowd your oven because then they're not gonna bake the way that they're supposed to bake. So we are scoop and bloop, scoop and bloop. And just keep doing that until you're out of cookie dough or until you have one cookie sheet all filled up. You can see that you can even see on the tops here, they are chunky. They got lots of our filling in them. And that's what you want, right? You want to make sure that they all have macadamia nuts, they all have white chocolate, they're all lemon delicious looking. Ooh. That's what I want right here. Now, I do a version of these where I do different kinds of chocolate chips, go nuts. There's a version of these I make where I add sweetened shredded coconut. That's delicious. But my husband prefers the classic, so that's what we will stick to since these are his little welcome home, we missed you kind of a thing. Okay. You use parchment paper if you don't have a silicone baking mat. I have a silicone baking mat, which I can use and abuse thoroughly. This is probably the most time-consuming part. See, I'm scraping the bottom of the bowl to get that super cold cookie dough mixed in with the cookie dough that's kind of warmed up a little bit, just so that I don't break my wrist. Already done that before, don't need to do that again. I like my work to be quality, you know? This is my passion, and I like to make sure that it's conveyed, that it's treated with love and care. I don't bake with love so that I get a good cookie. I bake with love so that you get a good cookie and that you know how to make a good cookie. And so that my husband, when he gets home, gets his favorite cookie that he has been eating from me for years. Took out my cookie. Okay, and this is what your sheet should look like. I'm gonna move mine more to the outside here, and we're gonna just give them as much space as I can on this sheet, and that's why I like using these, because I can push them up. Every once in a while you'll get a flopper, but they flatten out when they cool. And I'm just doing one tray at a time because I like to keep them, I don't want to overcrowd my oven so that they cook evenly. What do I say for these ones? 12 to 13 minutes as soon as your oven goes off. So I'm going to put these in the oven and I will see you in 12 to 13. Welcome back. It has been 12 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and pop these guys out of the oven. They need another minute. Alexa, set a timer for 1 minute.
1 minute, starting now.
So they need 1 more minute because they're not golden brown around the edges. And that's what you want. You want to be nice and golden around the edges so you get a nice outer crunch on the crust of the cookie, but the center still stays nice and soft. So we are going to just let that be in for about another 40 seconds here so that the cookies are perfect. Okay. It's also your time to make sure you're cleaning up as you're going. That's important. Watch out. Don't trip over your dogs. I'm so excited for these cookies. They're gonna be so good. Just remember, do not eat your cookies when it's hot because their structural integrity is compromised right now. And what that means is when you break your cookie open and it feels raw, but it isn't, or it just falls apart, that's because you didn't let your wet ingredients, your butter, Alexa, stop. Come back to a room temperature consistency so that you have the structure of a cookie. Oh, that's much better. I can already tell the bottoms of those are more structurally capable. Okay. I'm only doing this for the camera. Please don't put hot pans on your counter. Boom. All right. So these are gonna cool for 5 minutes on your pan, and then you'll transfer them to a wired rack. It's just, they're still cooking, but they're also kind of cooling at the same time. Just so that when I take this off, it doesn't completely fall apart. You're just waiting. And then you'll transfer them to your wire rack, and then you'll let them cool to room temperature, and that's it. So I will come back and show you the final product as soon as they're cool. There you have it, white chocolate chip macadamia nut cookies. Those look so, so good. Thanks so much for tuning in to Amber the Baker. Catch you next time.